Call me whenever you feel alone, babe. And when you need to cry, I'll be by your side. Call me whenever you need someone, babe. And when you need to escape from 1,000 fires, I'm gonna kiss you wherever you are. And I'm gonna miss you, I will never lie. Call me whenever you need someone, babe.
Why we are using unreal solving Parallax engine. They ask why we go through all the pain, coding everything ourselves. So there's no doubt using an existing engine such as Unreal will solve lots of problems and also provide a lot of features just out of the box. However, Farmcom Simulator has some special requirements which make adapting and serving engines quite difficult. For instance, the dynamic and static body system, which is fully synchronized in our engine, would be very difficult to implement or adapt in existing engines. Also, our vehicles have quite many requirements which cannot be simulated by physics systems of other engines. Apart from this, we have also other reasons which go beyond just the features. And maybe we want to decide when and what features change during the development. This is especially important to make modding as simple as possible. Also with other engines, modding wouldn't be even possible, or at least not in that extent we are offering. So in latest Science engine, we added some new features for you guys. We added Direto 12 support in PC. We have like the new optimization techniques, like the texture streaming system, occlusion mapping, and various other graphics features. Farmcom Simulator 22 is going to be shipped using Direto 12 API. This allows us to write more efficient code and reduce CPU overhead and previous training APIs. Direto 12 also allows us to use more cores. Texture streaming allows us to put more features into our map, and we no longer need to make sure that we can load all full resolution textures from the beginning. So in the previous Farmcom Simulator version, we always load all the textures in the GPU memory at the very beginning. This is basically a good approach if you have no GPU memory.
Salve Danilo, salve Pierre.
You have like very high quality textures or even too many textures.
Fala, tio Ferreira,
crash or you end up with a very low frame rate. Directly from texture streaming in previous Farmcom Simulator version was the main reason for the relatively restricting character lock system we have in consoles. Occlusion code basically prevents the engine from performing expensive rendering computation
Fala, Luan, bom?
with objects.
Pode
For a
ir.
second thing, let me show you that an example now. So this is very simple.
Fala, senhor Vertex. Beleza?
To show how occlusion calling roughly works. For instance, here we have like a big wall which can potentially hide other objects, right? It makes sense to have this wall set as an occluder. And if I place now the camera right behind the wall,
Fala,
I
Edinaldo,
can't
beleza?
see the spheres behind, right? The occlusion calling system decides now that there is no need to compute these three spheres. And this can be checked here in our
Melhorou
menu
agora?
stats. As you can see here, the occluded shape counts increased to 3. And we have one occluded geometry here. So I can move slightly the camera to the side until a sphere becomes visible here.
Ó a placa de vídeo que ele tá usando, ó.
GTX
GTX 1050 Ti.
And this is what occlusion calling does. And it also only makes sense to have occluded geometry for very big objects, of course, right? Only big objects can potentially hide others. Also worth mentioning is that in Farmcom Simulator 22, the terrain is also acting as an occluded geometry. The terrain occluded geometry is automatically generated and updated Giant's engine uses a high-quality TAA algorithm by default, but it can also disable it if you don't like the result or for performance reasons. In previous games, we enabled MSAA as a default anti-aliasing technique. Compared to MSAA, TAA leads usually to better results. To show you better the difference between these two approaches, let me show you guys an example here in the game. Even with MSAA on, there are a lot of visible specular highlights flickering ongoing on this vehicle here. All these metal bars here suffering quite a lot of this rendering artifact. Now let's enable TAA and see how the image looks like. As you see, with TAA on, specular highlights glitches are gone, so it's really a notable improvement.
Valeu, Michaelinho. É nóis.
Parallax Occlusion Mapping to all terrain textures. Parallax Occlusion Mapping is a real approximate displacement mapping. It's a technique to approximate geometric details without the cost of the actual geometry. So let's compare the difference between having parallax occlusion calling on and off. For instance, here we have a little path here on the terrain, which has a lot of stones on it. So currently we have the parallax occlusion system turned off, and even though we have a normal map applied here on the terrain, it still looks a bit boring and flat. It doesn't look really 3D. Now let's activate the parallax occlusion calling. It looks way more interesting. Everything is kind of like popping out of the scene. We also improved the shadow map renderings quite a lot. One of the most notable changes there is that we are now able to render the shadows much further away. That actually really helps to improve the visual quality and distance. We even see the shadows in the very far distance. For instance, the trees here are dropping shadows everywhere. Let's compare with the previous solution we had in 19. There is no shadow in the distance at all. So I think this is really a big improvement regarding the visual quality. Apart from the features I've presented you guys, we also worked on other stuff like traffic vehicle AI system, pedestrians system, and we also added some new multiplayer feature which hasn't been announced yet. And yeah, I guess that's it. That's all from the engineering team. I wish you guys a lot of fun on Farmcom 21 and see you soon. Cheers!
Thank you, Thomas. I've been listening to your talk on the tractor, I swear. I'm sure these engine updates will look great. So let's introduce you to another engine. He is one of our US ambassadors, usually getting up early and still always full of energy. Not sure what he's running on, but here's DJ Goham.
Do mapa.
Start. What's going on, everybody? DJ Goham here. Welcome to FarmCon 2021.
DJ Goham.
This year, just like last year, is a little bit different since we're all having to watch from home. Since Farming Simulator 22 is releasing this year, you know this FarmCon's going to be crazy.
Eduardo Moura, beleza?
A quick shout out to the Goham fam and all of you guys watching live right now. Farming Simulator is such a community-driven video game, and it is so exciting to have such a wonderful, large community supporting the game. Without you guys, nothing that we do would be possible, so thank you. With all that, back to you guys.
Behind me, you can already see Kenny and Stefan setting up their gear for the next presentation. And I'm really looking forward to this one. There's no special topic for it, but let's just call it a first look at Farming Simulator 22.
Tudo bem? Eduardo
We've
Moura.
already told you about big features like the seasonal changes or the production chains, but there's so many new features in Farming Simulator 22 that not all of them make it into the big news. Stefan is very good at explaining them to me at the office. Kenny, on the other hand, has to make sure that they all get tested. So I am so glad that both of them have the time. What happened? What did you do?
I just plugged that cable in. Didn't look important to me.
Just because you create doesn't mean that you have to touch everything.
Calm down, guys. I got an idea. I got here something.
Valeu, pessoal de Fronteira da Paz aí. Grande abraço.
Ta-da! Yeah, okay. It's nice, but I don't think it's enough, Stefan. Sorry, but while you're trying to fix the
Olha o
light,
girolag aí que
let
vem
me tell
junto
our
no
viewers
jogo.
more about the beacon light.
Que
The
isso.
USB beacon light is included in the Farming Simulator 22 Collector's Edition, available for PC in a lot of countries. It's specially made to work with Farming Simulator, and whenever you switch on the beacon lights in the
Tô
game,
com uma RTX
they start
2060
glowing.
Super.
And when you
Louco pra
turn them off in
testar.
the
Aí
game,
sim, vai rodar show
they
de
turn off
bola.
on your desk again. So cool. The Collector's Edition is very limited, but you can pre-order it now, as well as other versions of Farming Simulator 22 available digitally and at disc at retail stores. You might also
Hello,
notice that similar to
Manfred.
Farming Simulator 17, we will have different tractors on the covers in the various regions around the globe.
I think I got it. Hang on. Helper B got stuck and caused a short circuit.
Okay, I guess I'll leave you two. Watch the rest in the production room. Go fix everything. I'll take that beacon light. And you guys, enjoy the presentation.
Final do Orlando. Highlight de drone. Chegou a hora, pessoal. Vamos ver.
Alrighty. So, hi, I'm Ken Burgess, the QA lead here at Giant Software, and I'm joined today by Stefan. Stefan, you want to give a little introduction who you are?
Hello everyone, my name is Stefan Maurus. I'm a gameplay programmer and lead vehicle
O
integrator
computador cara tá
here at
rodando
Giant
também.
Software, and today we are going to show you a bit of live gameplay.
Yes, this is basically the first time ever that we're showing any gameplay from the upcoming Farming
Cara, tá
Simulator
muito
22.
bonito, velho.
The reason why we brought Stefan onto this presentation as well is because he's done lots of little side features as well in
carros
terms
tão
of
mais rápido também, não tão
vehicle
lerdo.
integration and just
Fala,
a few
Camila Tops Gamer, tudo bem?
geek
Eduardo
features,
Moura,
as we like
melhor
to call them,
lançamento do
basically.
ano de 2021.
So,
vai ficar muito
let's
bom, cara.
dig right into it. Stefan,
Salve,
what's the first
Edson
thing
Ferreira,
we want
tudo
to talk
bem?
about today?
Yeah, so first I want to talk a bit about new ground. So as we already posted on our website, we introduced the Parallax Occlusion Mapping, and this also affects the ground textures of the terrain itself, not only on the field. And you can perfectly see it here on this way to the field. So you see all these
Sim,
little
Antônio, vai rodar de
stones are
boa.
coming a bit out of the ground.
Ah, as pedras
I
no
think
chão,
even,
pessoal. Isso
like,
é uma
once you start
textura, tá?
moving around, this is when the ground
Ó,
actually
o cara tá dentro do jogo, ó.
becomes alive.
Eu não sei por que eles não tiraram essa bolinha que fica aparecendo junto com o girar da câmera ali, tá vendo?
This is the case with each like ground texture we have in the game. then?
Yeah. So each of
Tigron?
them has their own height map. So yeah, of course, stones are the highest ones here
Yeah.
on the terrain, but also the grass and
Salve,
that stuff is
senhor
a bit,
Rising,
more
tudo bem?
three-dimensional.
Definitely more vibrant, brings a new feel to
Yeah.
how the game world just feels when walking
esse
around
trator aí?
and also driving, because we have the same
Ué?
thing over here on the field as well.
Yeah. You don't.
Olha a
really see
palha
it
no
here
chão,
now
pessoal, ó.
because, there's a straw on the field, so it's a bit covered.
É, eu achei que
But
não ia
later
ter,
on,
mas tem, olha
I
lá, ó.
prepared a
Uma palhinha
cultivator.
legal no chão,
So
ó.
there you see it pretty well, and also
Se
with
não arrumaram
plowing,
a palha,
you see
a
it
mar...
really nice.
So we already see what do we see
Olha a palha no chão
right
aí, ó.
now
Tá
here on
falando
the
agora,
field? That's
Antônio?
wheat, because
Yeah,
it doesn't
da
look like
hora.
the wheat from FS19.
Yeah,
Olha o trator lá, ó,
so we
7810, ó.
updated the textures there and
jogo.
also the 3D models, so it looks way better. Yeah, you can just see it here. And
Valeu, Mike.
also,
Tamo junto.
yeah, the stubbles on the field, and
Quem puder compartilhar aí,
you see
pessoal, eu
also,
agradeço, tá bom?
that you
Quanto é
don't
tipo
see
de
the
grupo
ground
vocês
that
tiver aí?
much as in FS19, so it's
It's
more
very
more
dense,
covered
Definitely.
surface. So we
And also, I noticed the other day while testing the game. I mean, that's the nice thing. Stefan, he creates things. I break them, basically. But I noticed that while testing with our wind effects and everything we have in game, the new foliage just looks so vibrant. You can even see
like
the little waves and ripples going through it at times. It's really cool.
It's hard to see. Maybe if we enter,
I think some foliages you see it more than others.
But if you have a closer look here, maybe on the TV it's not really visible, but you see really the wind waves. It depends also on the wind intensity.
And also, of course, on your
No
draw
cantinho
distance
aqui,
of
pessoal,
whatever you have.
aqui, ó.
But it looks really nice.
Pô, não deu nem
Before it
tempo.
was only just waving.
No cantinho ali a caixa de marcha, ó.
But
Vou
now
mostrar
it's
pra
really
vocês ali, ó.
dynamic and makes it more realistic.
Do lado do braço dele
side
aqui, ó.
note here, this is also kind of ties in, I believe. I'm not sure if Jos already talked about it, but with the seasonal
eu também achei legal, não. A textura de soco tá meio cagada.
Directly integrated. Of course, we have different weather types.
Não, mas eu acho que tá de boa. Eu acho que ficou legal.
Also the direction changes. So if
Antônio,
now the wind comes from the back and you see it, like this here, but it can also change the direction and you directly see that on the fields. Yeah.
All right.
So we got here our New Holland combine harvester, the CH7.70. We already showed that on some screenshots. So,
no cantinho aqui, ó.
like a smaller combine from New Holland.
A good starting combine.
Yeah, exactly. And now we can just start to harvest. I already did some bits.
You did a little bit of pre-work.
Yeah, it doesn't take too long here. So,
acho que ficou bonita essa palhada aí, velho. Muito bonito.
Some of you might already noticed it, but
vai rodar liso,
CB.
CB.
The effects here at the back, so the straw that's coming out of the combine.
Ela pede 1060.
More 3D now. Before it was only a 2D mesh and the texture scrolling over it, but now it's really 3D particles that's coming out of the combine.
You can almost smell all of the dust in the
Arredondaram,
air.
né? Tava olhando ali.
So yeah,
dust at the back.
Toda a interface do jogo mudou, né?
And you also have kind of the, also similar improved effects at the front. If you have a close look here.
The take-in effects, basically.
Yeah, we improved them a lot. So you
GTA,
now really see how each crop is coming into the header. And then feed it into the combine harvester.
Nice.
And there we got also different effects for different header types.
CB.
So like this is just a normal
ela é recomendada, né, pro jogo.
Scraper headers, the ones with the belt.
6 gigas.
And you really see that the crops fall onto the belt.
They move
and
differently
then move into the center. So it's individual for all headers.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's something very specific, though, I know you worked on regarding like headers specifically in the whole harvesting process. Something that hasn't been part of FS19 so far. Maybe we want to reveal a little bit about that.
If you have a close look here, you barely see it. So the header is not completely straight. It's here a bit down, just a few centimeters. But now we introduced automatic header tilt and height control. So the header is automatically detecting the height of the ground and is adjusting to it, and also tilting the header so it perfectly matches the ground.
Okay.
So it does not only have a visual effect. On this field we barely see it, but some you
I think
see
once
it a
you
bit
get
more.
started harvesting on the Alpine map, for example.
Yeah. But also for mod maps that
have
some steeper slopes.
Tenho dúvida se vai
it also
rodar.
improves
Não, ela é
the
recomendada
driving,
para o
so
máximo.
you don't get stuck on the header and so.
And this is the case for every header in the game?
And not every. The ones that only also got that in real life. So not every header got a tilt control. So the height control is implemented on all headers to improve that. But the tilt is only on that support that in real life. For example, on older combines, you don't have that in real. So only on the new ones.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, we have a little something more planned later on, but for now, after harvesting our grain here, something else we might want to show You already parked some trailers in the back. Those are also new.
Yeah. So we got now the brand Rudolph, the German trailer brand. So and we got some really nice trailers from them. So let's just tip that into that. Then I can show you the trailers. So pretty nice ones. Yeah, so we got some more, not only these two, so they're the same.
Estão mostrando todos os detalhes, tá, pessoal, do Parallax.
But yeah, they're really nice. And pretty nice new wheels, so that are from Continental. Yeah, especially these road wheels are new, so we haven't had them branded yet.
Okay.
But now we got them also branded and not as Lizard.
Oh.
Yeah, they look really nice, and also the
new profile on there.
The profile is more 3D. So, and we also got from Continental the wheels on our really nice John Deere. So they're also really nice. So this is also the white configuration for the wheels. So it looks pretty good on our John Deere. So also a new tractor. Yeah, basically everything new. Yeah, older tractor from John Deere was built end of the 90s. And yeah, as a young timer in the game now, we can just enter.
I also see in the front, that's a new weight. We have new...
E aí, fi? Caiu? Que legal.
If you hear a bit of the game, I hope you hear it well. You also hear the manual shifting of this tractor. So because this tractor is manual shifted with...
Yeah, I think we have not talked about anything of that yet. Yes, we have gear shifting.
We have gear shifting.
Something that you've worked on for quite a while, I believe.
Yeah, it's a really tricky topic because it's not really easy to do, especially the automatic shifting of these gears, because if you don't want to shift, some players don't want that to shift manually, you have to automatically shift like nearly perfect to handle all the different situations of the game, and that's quite tricky.
Yeah, I mean, like with everything, we have the possibility to turn this like manual gear shift setting on or off, however you prefer to play. If you play on automatic, the game does everything for you. Also, probably something that's been very hard to implement, I'm guessing, is we have such a range of tractors in the game. And some have so many different subsets of gears, and they don't have the same systems.
So it's not like a car. On a car, it's pretty easy. You have like 6 gears, 1 reverse gear, and that's it. But on tractors, you like every tractor has a different gearbox. So you have normal gears, then you have groups. Sometimes you have also subgroups that change it a bit. And then
but you
groups.
can even see it in game. We built in this little feature here on the lower right in the corner. You see like what the current like gear shifting system is, what gear it's currently set at. So you can either use that to know when to shift or when not to shift if you're playing with it set to manually, or you also see when playing automatically how the game is shifting gears live in action, basically.
Exactly. So we now see that we are in gear group A, and we are in neutral, so we don't have a gear. And if we accelerate now, we can see that...
we also got to say Stefan is playing on automatic because it would be far too complex to
also on the controller.
Do this manually,
So,
getting up the hill and out on the road.
Yeah, so it's pretty heavy, these 2 trailers. But you can see that's automatically changing the gears. And also, if you have a close look, it's also
animated, the character animates
using the levers here. And also the clutch pedal. So, and the sound, I don't hear it now. But it's really nice. So that's one of my favorite features of the new game.
That the sound basically adjusts according to what gear
and sometimes if you got a heavy trailer, it sounds pretty awesome.
When the load is kicking in. driving uphill.
Yeah. So we got here a farm. I built here some bits. Yeah, hope that looks quite nice.
Hope you don't get stuck on our little
yeah,
fence here.
I hope. But trailers are pretty long.
They're pretty hard to maneuver.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of our farm silos that you've placed
Também
down
o som,
here.
tu viu?
Exactly. So also a
Ficou
new
legal
brand
também.
from Unia. So Polish brand that's producing such silos.
Vamos ver
So
as
we got,
partículas do
some more
veículo
of them.
descarregando. Pelo menos
in
agora a
different
gente tem
sizes.
silo para
Yeah,
descarregar
there's
dentro de
different
casa,
range
né?
of them available in
Isso
game.
Yeah, so
também.
you can choose which size you want, and you also can extend it with silo extensions like you already know from the past games.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Now,
So yeah, but what we want to show here now is that when unloading into a silo from your trailer, we also have these nice new sound effects.
you hear the new sounds. So
Let's listen.
let's listen to that.
Tá muito legal,
There
velho.
you go.
Ó,
So you
Ó,
also,
barulho.
if you look, it's the camera. We
tudo
don't
tem
really
barulho
have
agora, velho.
Oh.
that much in the trailer.
Yeah, it was unloaded pretty quickly.
Yeah. I forgot to unload the full combine. Sorry for that.
Didn't have the time to get all of the field done.
yeah. But we can.
But that's the thing. We want to show you as much as we can
yeah
in our time window, of course.
but we can also unload it here to show you the
yeah.
unloading without anything in. And you can also see that we improved the animation here of the hydraulic cylinders.
Meu
In past
inglês é
games,
pobre, não
all
entendo
that stuff.
nadinha.
So this hydraulic cylinders has many subparts that are
Yeah.
extending.
These single pistons.
Yeah, exactly. And in the past, we extended them all at the same time, but now it's more realistic, and they extend one after another.
Yeah.
Olha
it's
esse
this
cara aí, ó.
gradual.
Yeah,
Hello,
exactly.
NPC.
Hello. Oh.
Yeah, it's basically this gradual extension of one
Yeah.
part.
And if you have a listen to the sound, you also hear when each cylinder is at the end and it's locking into its position. So you also hear that. So that is way more realistic and really great to hear. So, but we still have one tipper left that is full.
Yeah, that's still full. I mean, the question is what to do with this.
Yeah,
Eu
what
também
should
achei
we
que
do?
ia subir
Maybe
o
I
Antônio, mas
should
não
get
subiu
a
não.
colleague from me to explain you more
Sure
what
thing.
you can do. So, yeah, see you later, and I
See you in a bit.
send you my colleague over.
All right. He will be back in a few minutes, but joining us now is Marius. Marius, for those watching and at home, you want to do a quick introduction, who you are, for those that might not know you yet?
Yeah, I'm Marius. I'm a gameplay programmer at Giant Software, and one of the features I worked on for the next game is now our production chains.
Yes, so very exciting. This is the first time ever we're going to be showing you the gameplay right here for production chains. Two things before we jump in though. First of all, if you have any questions during the presentation as a whole, reminder, after this segment there will be a Q&A with us on Discord, so you can ask all of your questions there. And second of all, of course, everything you see here might not be final for the release date, so some things are still a little bit subject to change and we're constantly working on things. But yeah, let's get started with production chains as a whole. So Stefan and myself, we've already been harvesting some wheat before, and the nice thing is in previous games you were able to use the wheat just to like basically sell it directly, and now with production chains there's this whole new level of gameplay that's introduced to the game. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about what can we do now with this wheat and with the new production chain system.
Yeah, here now, for example, we have on our new map, we have a grain mill, and before we would just come here and sell the wheat and we would get money for it directly. But now you have the option to deliver it and get flour produced by the grain mill, which you then can use for other products. So that's the chain element, so you don't just sell your goods, but take one good and produce it to a different product, and then can use that to produce more goods or sell these products.
And that's the nice thing about the production chain system with the maps that we launch with the US map here, we have the possibility either to basically purchase the pre-existing ones, because there are some buildings, production chain buildings, that are basically pre-placed in the map, or of course you can also place them yourselves, where if you purchase some land, for example, just create it, paint it with our landscaping mode as you see fit, maybe place a few trees or fences there, and just place your building right there, and you can use that as well. So we see Marius is already unloading some of our freshly harvested grain, and the mill is going to run on itself now. And we also have very nicely our audio guys worked on that. They have their own like idle sound and also like a working sound as well.
So as you can see now in the bottom corner, we have delivered our wheat to our grain mill, and it's now currently producing flour from it. And as you can see in a few seconds, we have produced enough flour to get a product from it. So as you can see now,
there it is.
It produced enough to spawn a pellet, and we can now use this product to bring it, for example, to the bakery, which is a production point as well.
Yeah. So either if you only own the grain mill per se, you can then either sell it directly, because there are like a few other not production chains, but like selling points on the map. I mean, we have, for example, supermarkets and things like that where you can sell the flour. I believe it's a supermarket and a few other places. You have
different options where you can sell your products, and depending on where you get the best price, you have to decide where you want to place it or produce it into other goods.
Now this is already very exciting. This is our production chain, basically the management menu of the flour mill you're currently at. So maybe you can show us a little bit of what do all these numbers and icons mean?
Yeah, it's still not finalized. We're going to work on it a bit more. But on the left, you have an overview over all your production points. And as we can see here, we have our grain mill, which we're currently at. And we have different productions for flour, mainly because we have different grains which can produce flour. Right, and you can turn on and off these productions individually. So right now we can turn on the grain again, because as you can see on the right, we have wheat in our storage.
Yeah. So these production chain buildings, they have their own like building storage. So if it's not currently being like used, you can also use them to basically store a little bit in there and prepare stuff. So because maybe we'll see it later with the bakery, there are some products that use different kind of ingredients. So you have to bring in one, and then of course it's not used up but stored, and then you can bring in the other missing ingredients as well.
In this example, in the grain mill, it's very simple. You only have one input and one output.
Produz a farinha de sorgo, de trigo, de cevada e de aveia.
To produce even multiple outputs.
Para fabricar pão.
Do you know what the
cake, no caso,
cake é the one is with the most ingredients?
I think it will be the bakery. So we can see it in a second. And one thing you can do, if you don't want to transport the pellets for yourself, you can simply change the output mode for the product you produce. Right now you can see on the right, it's set to storing, which means it stores the goods produced inside of the production point, and once fill level is reached, a pellet may be spawned, so you can move it yourself.
No jogo, acho que não permite
a cerveja por causa da faixa etária do jogo. So now everything which will be produced will be directly sold.
Okay. So if you're playing and you're like, I don't have time for this right now, I need to, I don't know, harvest another field or whatever, I can't take care of the loading, it's going to do it automatically, basically.
And another option is to distribute it, and that's especially useful if you've got already multiple production points. And then the products will be moved to these production points automatically in a certain time interval.
So instead of selling them, we can just basically tell them to, if I have my bakery over here, so bring it there and keep going. Basically, just store it for the bakery for now without you having to transport all of the goods.
Right. Of course, it'll cost a bit, so you have an incentive to actually do it yourself. But if you don't want to, you can say just deliver it, and it will be good.
All right.
And now let's see if we can find our bakery.
Our bakery, yeah.
We hop in here
So
again.
usually you would either use the new distribution method to bring it there directly, or of course then just transport the goods, load them onto a wagon and transport them to the bakery yourself.
Yeah.
Aí, ó.
So like shown here, we
Carregou
loaded
os
some of
pão.
our flour onto a trailer and moved it to our bakery. And now we can check the bakery as well. You can access it via these triggers, or also in the in-game menu, so you don't have to actually
José,
walk there
bom?
to manage it, but just
Okay.
can open the
Pressão.
menu.
So if
Sobe
you're there,
loja, esse
just
cara
walk
de
up
óculos
to
parece
it,
que tá meio
directly trigger
nervoso.
the menu to pop
I
Yeah.
up.
think it's a nice touch to have some physical triggers
It's nice
as well.
to have a little bit of interaction with the
Yeah.
game world directly.
And
yeah,
it's not just
definitely.
all in a menu. So we are here now, and as you can see, our storage in the bottom right is empty, so we can't produce anything. And now for the part which I mentioned earlier, the bread is also simple. It
que
just
da hora
takes
mesmo.
flour and produces bread.
Mhm.
But the
Ixi,
cake
entregaram a
is
cultura nova ali, ó.
a bit of a different level. So as
Morango.
you
Many
can see,
different icons.
it takes flour, sugar, milk, eggs, butter, and
Presta
strawberries
atenção lá, ó,
to
morango.
produce cakes. So if you want to have cakes, you have to really invest. And
Yeah.
Sim,
I
ó,
mean, those are
Caipira.
like many different ingredients you get from many different sources of
Acabaram
our
de
game
entregar
and
uma
the ways
cultura
you
sem
can, like,
querer
play
ali,
the
ó.
game. But of course, the payback is going
Yeah.
to be vastly increased if you set out to sell some
so
cake.
if you've got a production active,
Ó o
and
moranguinho,
it
ó.
cannot run because either
Strawberries.
don't have the ingredients
Mhm.
like right now, or the output storage is full and you don't have space to place the products anywhere. You get a red indicator here, so you can
Deve ser
just
borba.
quickly check
Não,
Okay.
mano, não dá
the
mais
menu
tempo, não.
and see if there are any productions that don't run.
So you immediately see where basically your, as the word is, a production chain. It's like a process, and you can immediately spot what's
É, vai fabricar
where's the
manteiga
bottleneck,
também.
what's halting me from producing further goods.
As you can see here,
Entregou de
our grain
bandeja,
mill
não
is
foi,
still
Antônio?
running fine. You
É a
have
outra
wheat as an
cultura além do
input and
sorgo aí agora.
it outputs products if there's space for it,
Morango.
but our cake cannot be produced because we don't have any of the required
Manteiga,
inputs.
ovos,
Yeah, I mean, those are
açúcar.
already like a
farinha.
bunch of different ingredients, but with the whole production chain
É,
system as
manteiga
a
você
whole,
pode fabricar através do
there's
leite
like a
ali e tal,
lot
mas o
of different
morango
new,
é uma...
not fill types,
é uma
but like these
cultura mesmo.
product types that are coming into the game with this new gameplay element being production chains. So as the main
E aí, você joga,
developer,
beleza? Como é que tá, meu
behind,
amigo? Tudo certo
production
com
chain
você?
as a whole.
Seja bem-vindo aí, meu amigo.
what would you say was like the most
Pena que não vem feijão, mas isso aí a gente
like
adiciona.
the most difficult
Dá
thing
nada.
to bring it into the game? Was there anything that you guys stumbled
Não,
upon or
Axel, joga. É
something
só
that you
novo
maybe
sistema
didn't
que eles
think
estão
about before
utilizando,
initially when you
que é
worked
o
on the concept?
sistema Parallax.
Yeah,
Shader
with
Parallax.
adding new
Parallax.
stuff, one
Que
of the
faz
main
o
concerns is
solo ter uma
always
sensação
making
que
it
é
work on a larger scale.
dinâmico.
Like doing the first
Só a
prototype is
sensação, né?
always okay, but then you have to think about how will it work in multiplayer,
Yeah.
how will it work if people have 30 or 40 different production points. So we always have to build our features that they scale well
Yeah.
and will work for every player.
And also something probably a
Não,
lot
acho
of
que não,
the
viu,
players are
Motinho
wondering,
8RX?
like how do the
Mudou.
production chains come into play in
A iluminação do mapa tá
multiplayer?
diferente, do jogo tá
in
diferente.
single player you load up the map and you have the choice of either like placing
Valeu
them
pela inscrição,
yourself
Fábio. Tamo junto.
or purchasing
Pessoal
like
que
a
não deixou aquele like aí,
pre-existing
deixa aí
production
like
point
pra
like
dar aquela fortalecida
we've
pra
seen
nós,
with the
não é mesmo?
sugar mill or maybe like the bakery. And how does it work in multiplayer with like different farms and stuff?
Não, tamo aí, ó.
Each farm can still have
Nós
their
também
own
estamos aqui
production points.
observando o que tá vindo de novo.
So there can be different
Acabamos de descobrir
bakeries,
a cultura
yes,
for example.
que
But
vai vir morangos.
if you want to deliver to a different farm, you're gonna sell your goods
Pode
there.
não ser, né?
Okay.
Posso
So
estar
that's,
enganado, mas
quiet.
entregou de bandeja ali.
So you still have the option to sell your goods at other farms, but also can have your own products. So you're not limited in any ways that
Yeah.
you would
Cada
not
vez
have the
mais
option
animado pra jogar
to get rid of
FS22.
your
Tá show da hora,
produced
tô me
goods.
registrando
So,
no
but what's
fórum,
really
muito
nice
top.
though then is saying we're playing a multiplayer and
Fórum Lost
I
Gamer
place
ou
down a
Eduardo?
bakery, although I don't even have the equipment for harvesting wheat or whatever, and I don't have a flour mill.
Vai
I still,
mudar
by
bastante
placing
coisa,
down this
Francisco.
bakery and
Alterou
investing in
muita
it,
coisa.
am offering like another possible selling station
Right.
to all the other,
Other
players.
players.
And so it opens up different kinds of way these like our farms can interact with each other.
And of course, if you've got your chain going and you see, okay, there's a bottleneck here, maybe you can place a second grain mill, so you got more wheat or flour to use for your
Ó o
bakeries.
sorgo aí bem do lado, o
So
trator
it's
da
a
massa ali,
process of
36,70.
micromanagement. You have to see where do I
Já tem um
have
FS22 no
to
console, só que
invest
tá
more,
caro demais.
or
meu
where's
amigo,
the problems
infelizmente.
in my system
Ao
where can I
sorgo aí,
improve
ó.
the overall throughput and gain
Tá
more
muito junto.
revenue.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like it's good if it was a good harvest, like a nice harvest. I have lots of wheat, then partly maybe my flour mill can only handle so much, and you can always sell any excess goods you might have either to other players or, of course, to other locations in the game world.
With the aspect of
bola,
the
Raik.
limited storage, you are inclined to use more different stations or store your
Existe, cara. O Luan
wheat in
criou o
your
fórum do
silo.
Okay.
So
canal
you
e do site.
cannot just dump
É muito da hora, tem
like
parte lá que você
500,000
consegue
liters
tirar
of
dúvida,
wheat
tem
at one
tutoriais
point,
lá.
so you have to
É bem da
think a
hora,
bit
tá, pessoal?
more and
Yeah.
Pra quem não
have to
conhece
store
o
it and
fórum
maybe
aí, tá,
sell it
pessoal?
at different
Exclamação
stations.
fórum.
Okay.
Lá tem vários
And of course, it
tutoriais,
also ties in a
várias
little bit
salas
with
lá pra você
our
tirar dúvidas,
prices
tá?
system, like the prices management. If there's one player, for example, that sells a lot of wheat, then that price might go down after a while, and you might sit on it if you don't want to get rid of it immediately, wait for a better price. Then of course you have to think about where am I going to store stuff or am I going to invest maybe in a like bakery to produce bread and keep that price going and stuff like this. So yeah, the micromanagement aspect I think is something that's going to be very, very cool for players out there, and just in general, even those that maybe focus more on trying to kind of like automate their farm. People
Sim,
that
cara,
like to
foi
play
a
with
melhora
the
muito
AI
impressionante,
helper,
né,
for
meu?
example, they can let the AI worker
Não, Antônio,
do
infelizmente
his or
eu não
her
tive.
job, and then
Eu
just
ganhei o jogo,
they
mas tava
themselves focus
159.
on walking around, transporting the goods that come out to the different production chains. I think the
Montou uns
management
10
part
PA aí,
is,
gente
might be
boa, e me
something
deram
that
o game.
maybe like was missing a little bit before in previous games, and here this is something that really like undermines this.
You have the option to do it, but you're not forced to do it. So
Yeah, as with everything, of course.
it adds more without forcing players who don't want to use it to spend time with it. Yeah.
Is there any kind of like favorite production point you yourself have, or like not a production point, but maybe like a branch, you know, because there's like these different branches. You have
Você
like
sabe dizer
flour,
se
of
tem
course, for
mod
the
de
bakery and things.
passageiro para console? Acho-
I know,
acho
for
que não,
example,
viu,
we haven't
Borba?
shown it today, but
Acho que não.
mine personally, for example, would be the greenhouses, because greenhouses themselves are also, they're not like they've been in previous farming simulator games where you just place them and get income, but now you can actually use them and they tie into the production chain system. So is there anything in that regard that you would?
Yeah, the greenhouses
Eu
are
comprei
pretty
ele por
cool
90
because
pila.
you have
Haha,
now
Luan,
the plants
aí sim.
which differ based on which
Eu
you
vi o
actually
Easy
grow.
ali. É, erva daninha.
Some other production points have some cool animations to them, and we try to make them visually
mano,
appealing
mas
as well.
infelizmente
So,
não tem o que
like
fazer,
here,
né?
the bakery where we added some details in the house and around it,
Legal as
so
árvores, velho.
it looks more authentic.
And it kind of fits into like the production chains, all of them, they fit like perfectly into the game world and the design of the maps as a whole. I mean, the nice thing also is the production chains give players a bit of choice, just because for example, this is the actually the European bakery. It has like this European design, but we're playing on the US map. So, but we just thought, you know what, this looked nicer. We're just gonna put this here, right, on this little cozy area of the game, and that's like the nice thing. I also think for players everywhere, you always have the choice to just
grow your farm. Not only the farm, but now with production chains, grow it even further.
Olha o sorgo aí, pessoal. Eu achei.
Just as you see fit.
Não achei muito legal,
Yeah,
né?
for
Fazer o
example,
quê,
if
né? É
you
o que
don't
temos.
like where the bakery is compared to your grain mill and the distance is too far, you just can say, okay, gonna buy an own bakery and place it nearer to it. So
Será que vem
it's
com
easier for
modo
me to transport the goods.
sujeira
Or
do documento?
Yeah.
if your big wheat field is far away from the grain mill, just place your own grain mill
Sujeira,
right
sim,
next to
cara.
the wheat field.
Sempre tem.
And-
Optimize.
Just see what you need and customize the world in the way you like.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a nice, very finishing touch. So we're gonna say goodbye to Marius for now. Thank you for being here with us today and giving us a little insight into the new production chains coming to Farming Simulator 22.
Anytime.
And yeah, we will bring Stefan right back and continue with a little bit something more.
Que treino louco, velho. Show de bola, né, Caipira? É, eu também ganhei da galera aí, velho.
And joining us now, of course, again, is Stefan. We're going to bring him back because we have a little something more to show you. We teased it in the very beginning, something about how great our new ground textures look. Stefan, let's show the players out there how amazing our new... I mean, we have different ground textures now, depending on... We see a new tool here, and we have, depending on what kind of tool you're using, of course, you're going to get different ground types. So maybe you want to talk about that a little
Que
bit.
bagulho
Exactly. So here we got a disc harrow.
louco. Esse arado
You
aqui
can
é muito
see
louco,
it
maluco.
has a lot of small discs that are rotating.
Olha lá, Éder,
and are,
beleza?
yeah,
Olha
like
que-
cutting the
que
ground
monstro.
and
Bonito, né,
yeah,
velho?
mixing it a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's a bit
Provavelmente vai
different
mostrar
from
muita
normal
coisa aí,
cultivator.
pessoal.
The cultivator
Essa
works a bit more in
transmissão de
depth
hoje
and
vai mostrar
Yeah,
muita coisa
really,
aí.
really
Provavelmente
change
queria
the
ver os
look of
animais
the
no-
ground. And yeah, now let's
Our case
just enter
400.
here our case Magnum. It's also a new tractor. We already showed that on some screenshots.
O arado da
It's
Case
a brand
também.
new,
O pessoal pedia
Magnum
muito
series,
outros
also
maquinários da
with the
Case.
400.
Oh, and you
That's all
also
new.
see here something we had in FS19 with the Platinum add-on, I believe, are crawlers that are now
CGH,
fully
Yeah, exactly.
three-dimensional as well.
Yeah, we introduced that with the class DLC.
Yeah.
And yeah, now we got it on basically all of the vehicles. So if you have a close look here and you drive, you see that, yeah, it's three-dimensional.
Rodando
and, yeah, it's
3D.
moving.
Really pretty. But before
Yeah.
we start, you of course need to attach.
Pessoal, já retorna aí
yeah,
com vocês,
yeah.
beleza?
In the back.
Nearly forgot that. So let's head back to my disc harrow. So also a new disc harrow from Case. So yeah, it's like the first time we got from Case also some more tools.
Yeah.
Normally we only had tractors and combines and that stuff, but now we got also some tools here. So let's unfold it.
There's also every time I see these machines unfold, especially larger ones, I always have to think of integrators like yourself.
Yeah.
So many different parts to animate to
Yeah,
get these
really.
things just look
Yeah.
beautifully.
Yeah, sometimes it's really difficult, especially if the tools get really wide.
Yeah.
So also for American cultivators.
And when they start unfolding in sections and sections.
So sometimes it's really tricking and taking a lot of time to implement it well.
Yeah.
And to have it as realistic as possible. So now we unfolded it and then we can just...
And now let's see
Go
what all the
right.
fuss is about with these new and nice crop types.
Yeah, so...
Ground types, not crop types, of
Yes,
course.
the ground types. So if we cultivate now, we can see that there's also some straw still, so the stubbles of the field are still in the ground.
Yeah.
So if you would drive now with a cultivator, it would look different.
Yeah.
Because the cultivator is more bringing the straw under the ground.
Yeah, it
so
basically
you don't really
digs them
see.
underneath.
Exactly.
Almost.
So that's the first edition here.
So this is like depending on if you're using disc harrow or a cultivator or a plow, for example.
Yeah.
It's always going to be whatever was on the field before. It's always going to look different. Of
Exactly.
course.
Yeah.
How the ground has been
so
worked.
the plow is also putting everything under the ground. So even more than a cultivator.
Yeah.
But all this stuff has also gameplay effects. Improved the weed system there a bit.
Yeah.
So if you drive with a disc harrow, you got more stubbles there, and this results after that the weeds grow faster.
Okay.
So you don't have that much time to get rid of the weeds. So it also has some kind of gameplay effect.
Yeah, I mean the main thinking behind the whole thing was that we want to reward the player for actually taking the time and working the field and like many different cycles and shifts. So if you take better care of your ground this way, that of course is going to reward you in some way or another within the gameplay loop.
Exactly. So if you, for example, you use the disc harrow, you can also drive faster. So, and it also has a financial benefit because the disc harrow is normally a bit cheaper than the cultivator, but you don't have that much time for the weed to control the weeds.
They always got a
afterwards.
balance.
Yeah.
If you got the money,
you have to choose. And before in FS19 it was all the same. So that's an improvement there. So
All right.
And you can also see our new effects here. They're like similar to the back of the combine. You can also see the
New particles effect in the back.
the dirt that is spreading after the disc. So we improved that as well and added a whole new bunch of ground and soil effects. Okay, so let's jump to another nice vehicle.
Yeah, some might have already seen this one on a screenshot or two. This is our Xerion, our classic Xerion saddle track.
Yeah, one of my favorites. So.
Yes, I think this is your personal baby. You bringing it into the game from start to finish.
Yes, so it's in my opinion the best pre-order bonus we ever had. So it's not just a small tractor that is an addition. It's really a great addition
also
to the game.
For those wondering, so if you pre-order the game digitally anywhere, you will be able to get the class saddle track pack for your game, or you can also buy the game retail and it's going to be included if you get the disc version in the stores as well.
Exactly. So at the back of the Xerion we can also see the tools from Kaweco. We never had them in the game before, so they're also new. So we got at the back the slurry distributor and the tank on top. And as you have seen probably already on the website, we got also the semi-trailed tanker for that. So if you need to have some more slurry, you can use that. Okay, so but first, before we start to bring out the slurry, I want to have a quick look on the cow shed here.
This is also new.
Yeah, so it's from Rudolf Herrmann.
Yes, it's the first time actually in game that we ever have like a branded like animal husbandry.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really a special thing. And they produce really great things here. So
Look at our cows.
Look at our cows. They're beautiful. And they're eating there. Also from this side, a pretty nice one. And you can also open here all the gates.
You can have a look inside, of course, as well. And there's also like the feeding area in the front.
Yeah, so we improved here also a bit. Close this door if you want.
I mean, they seem much more interactive than they were before compared to FS19. So you will have all these little elements around the husbandries. You have opening sheds and doors basically and stuff like this. And of course, you're already parked near the slurry trigger right now.
Yeah. So that's an underground slurry tank here, and you fill it then from the top. And we got a bunch of little elements there on the placeables. Especially one nice thing is the lighting inside some sheds we have.
Yeah.
So it
The
looks
new lighting system of the whole, like the interior design of it.
Exactly.
So if it's night, you'll see those lights coming on.
Yeah, and you can also toggle them manually, so you can just walk to the light switch and turn it on if you need it. So let's drive to the field.
And I mean, part of this of the pre-order bonus, like the whole saddle track pack, maybe just to summarize again, it's going to be the saddle track itself, of course, and you have one of the Kaweco tanks already with the slurry distributor, and you mentioned it before, the other one was the other tank.
The semi-tray tanker.
Exactly.
Yeah. So more for the bigger farms. This one got 16 cubic meters.
Exactly.
And the bigger one got a bit more. I don't know the exact number, but
if you have a few more cows and a few bigger fields to take care of, maybe that might be the way to go.
And it's also good to mount a bigger distributor.
But now, of course, new slurry distributor also means that the ground is going to change again once we get started. So we see Stefan already unfolding this. So if you want to fertilize your fields to increase your yield, you can do that.
Yeah. So you can see it here.
Maybe like the pre-texture before isn't the best to show on, but you do see it very slightly.
Yeah, it's a little bit darker. And, now if
wetter basically. Also with the slurry.
Depois eu retorno aqui, não tem problema.
One nice thing also the this front arm.
Yeah, I was about to ask, what's that in the front?
So
provavelmente sim, o GDS. Esperamos que realmente tenha alguma coisa
So normally you have one tractor with a slurry with a tanker. That is bringing the slurry to the field, and with that one you get the slurry into this one and then distribute it on the field. And you can also unfold that and move it. I'll show you that as well. There you go. You can see it unfolding, and then you can manually control that.
All right.
Exactly.
And I mean something. We have one more thing we want to show you guys. When taking care of your field, when fertilizing them. When using like slurry distributors or also like fertilizer sprayers, for example, we've in the past we've had like fertilizer levels. We had like in FS19 we had a 2, and we still have these in FS22, but now there's something new that we're bringing to the game for the first time ever.
Yeah, so it's a pretty nice feature if you got a lot of slurry and want to get rid of it. And
you don't have much time.
Exactly. So normally you have to
because
fertilize.
You need to get the take your disc harrow out before the weeds come in.
So normally you have 2 fertilizer states. So you need to bring out the fertilizer twice. But if you got a lot of slurry, you can toggle this feature here. You see it on the top. Activate double application rate. So if you activate that, it will bring out the doubled amount of slurry.
And it's going to count basically as 2 fertilized layers.
So once, you drive a bit slower because that it brings out the same the doubled amount. So you drive half of the speed. But then you get the doubled spray state.
So with all these little geek features, as we like to call them, coming into play, I want to know from you, what's the main inspiration behind all of these? Is it something like when you're playing where you're saying, this might be nice to have? What's that spark that gives you the inspiration behind putting something like this into the game?
De funcionário no
sometimes
jogo,
it's based on user
menu
feedback.
só para funcionário.
But also a lot of times some of the colleagues come to me and say, hey, this would be great. and then we just implement it. So and sometimes also I think of, hey, this would be cool if we improve that a bit.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just little things that improve it really well. So,
especially then maybe since it's already like there in real life, maybe there's a way to bring it into the game. I think for me personally, the whole new like gear system, the gear shifting system, is a perfect example of why didn't we have it in before?
I mean,
it makes sense, you know, like you have it in when driving a car as well. But it always has to be optional as well, of course, for those players that like it's a nice to have, but and some might just like dabble around with it for a couple of game time hours, but then maybe switch back. But it's always like the nice balance between bringing in something new that makes it more realistic, of course, but also having that in as an optional feature, basically.
And also it has to be implemented well so that it works
that's the
fine.
thing.
So we also could have brought the gear shifting earlier, but if it does not work perfectly, it's also bad. So
that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Breaking the stuff, making sure it works correctly. All right. Well, I think with that, hopefully we were able to give you a little bit, just a tiny glimpse of what's to come in FS22. And if there's nothing else, Stefan, thank you for showing us what you've been working on.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And we can't wait to show you more. But for now, back to Martin.
Thank you, Stefan, Marius, and Kenny, for this first look at some of the gameplay features of Farming Simulator 22. Bear in mind that there are smaller and larger features being added to the game. We will reveal more in the coming month until launch. And of course, our popular fact sheets will also be released again. It's time for our next ambassador. And this one is just full of energy. He is energy. Energy Song from France.
Bonjour à tous, c'est Marlon ou Energy5, un youtubeur français sur Farming Simulator, et je vais remercier déjà Giants de me permettre de faire passer un petit message à la communauté française francophone. Déjà merci à tous, cette année a été juste incroyable, on s'éclate tellement sur le jeu, je pense que je me suis jamais autant amusé sur un Farming Simulator. Les modeurs font un travail formidable et je pense que c'est grâce à eux qu'on s'amuse autant, c'est juste fou. On n'a jamais eu autant de modes français d'ailleurs, ni autant de maps et autant de maps françaises. Donc voilà, merci à tous, merci également à toute la communauté, tous les joueurs. On s'éclate vraiment comme des oufs et j'ai hâte de voir toutes les futures annonces qui vont nous permettre, je pense, de continuer de nous amuser comme ça. Allez, merci encore à Giants et à bientôt.
What we'd love to do now is talk to you. Listen to your feedback and answer your questions. Join the official Farming Simulator Discord server now, where we will be available during and after the show. Some of us will stick around there for a while and are eager to hear from you. For tomorrow's Farmcon, we are also planning to answer some questions you might have in person. How do we do that? We have set up a simple form, much like a letterbox, where you can drop your questions about anything Farming Simulator related. FS22, modding, brands, it's up to you. Of course, we will not be able to answer all of them, but we will do our best to go through them and select the ones that seem to really interest many of you. We have also gathered some questions throughout the last few weeks with the help from our official Farming Simulator ambassadors. They have been asking around all over the globe in many languages and sent us their feedback. Lars and Kenny, I heard you have the answers.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first Farmcon Q&A with Lars Malczarek, the community manager, and with me is Kenneth.
Quase impossível de ganhar 7k de pessoas assistindo.
Nice to be here. Nice to be with you.
Same.
Awesome. Farmcon Day 2.
Yes.
We've seen some amazing things and
we'll see even more
down
the road.
I'm so happy to... let's not talk about Day 3 now. Let's make that a little bit later. Let's talk about questions. So what happened here? Our ambassadors, you might know that we have a couple of ambassadors out there, have been collecting questions over the last 2 to 3 weeks, I'd say, regarding
falar sobre os
22,
animais.
regarding Giants, regarding whatever that
beleza?
came to your mind. And we will answer a couple of these questions. We can't answer all of them, obviously.
So many questions.
There were insane amount of questions. We picked a couple. There were a lot of duplicate questions that we won't cover like 10 times. We will just answer it once. And we will go through all these questions. Some of them will be answered by Kenny, that's why he's here. Some of them will be answered by me, and some of them will be answered by our professionals. And you're gonna see how that looks. That's why we have a nice little screen.
We have a few special guests.
We have a few special guests. So, do we want to start?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of questions.
Yeah, we have a bunch of questions. We actually printed them because there are so many. So we're going to read the questions and we'll see what comes out of it. I'm going to start with the first one because the first one is definitely for you.
Entendeu em inglês?
From Easton in the USA. Since you are self-publishing the next farming simulator, will testing mods be as strict as the new game, as in the new game, as they have been in the past?
Well, yes, we're self-publishing for the first time ever. To be honest, that doesn't really have an effect on how we test mods. So it's basically going to be the same. We have, as always, our guidelines, which everybody knows. And we've been hearing lots and lots of feedback from the community on all of our different social channels, on the Discord channel. And we're definitely planning to take another look at the guidelines and improve them for the launch of the FS22 mod hub, and then we'll see where it goes on from there. But there will definitely be a few changes, but all in all, just because we're self-publishing, that's not a real big impact.
No, there's no relation between these two things, right? Self-publishing basically means that we are going to sell our game ourselves. So if you see it on the shelf somewhere, if you see it in a digital store somewhere, it's us bringing it there. Doesn't matter for the QA team because it hasn't changed your work at all, has it?
No, not really. I mean, I've definitely talked to we're always in close collaboration with all the different departments, and I've checked with the mod team, and we're definitely going to be looking at the guidelines, maybe see what we can mix up a bit for FS22. But yeah, I'm eager to see how it's all going to turn out once the game launches, and we can't wait to see the creations the community always comes up with.
I've already seen some people having ideas for Farming Simulator 22. Yeah,
all right,
and some of them will be exciting.
Okay, so the next one, Lars, this is something maybe you can answer. It's from Ash from the USA. She asks, as a female who plays Farming Simulator, she was wondering if there will be more customization options to make the game feel more welcoming to non-males, so to speak, like clothes, hair types, hair colors, shape of face, and the usual.
Yeah, so good news is that we changed a lot when it comes to character creation. I think we started with Farming Simulator 19. We made a lot of changes to character creation already back then. Still not enough. So
it's never enough.
It's never enough. So in Farming Simulator 22, the character creation will be improved. That's a nice little word, marketing word. It is better. So we have way more diversity, way more choices you can make with your character. I'm quite sure you will love it. Of course, there's always this, it could be more. It's still not Photoshop though. You can't just Photoshop your own character. But we have a new character creation, and I'm sure you guys will love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, next one for you from Chris in the United States. Will there be a better store search engine in Farming Simulator 22? Also a better category system for mods? That one is mean.
Well, it's actually two things we can answer here. So there will be a better sorting system, both in the store itself and also in the in-game mod hub. And we have this thing, I don't think we've talked about it that much. We have this thing called basically you can call them startup packs. So when you're fresh in a fresh save game, starting out freshly, and you're not quite sure in what direction to go, these packs basically help you and give you a certain selection of vehicles and tools that will help you.
Do you have an example for one of the starter packs?
Well, for example, if you want to do the usual arable farming, you're going to be able to get a normal small cultivator, a seeder, harvester, and so on. And I think we also have some for animals. I don't want to get in too specifically because they, of course, are still work in progress. But there's definitely going to be that option.
So there might be some potato harvesting where you get everything that you need for potato harvesting.
Yeah, that's the main idea
exactly what you need.
Exactly. That's the main idea.
It's good for new players. I know the
Definitely.
veterans out there, you guys are like, yeah, I know what to take. Well, there are new players that have no idea. So
it's definitely something that's going to help a little bit with the onboarding to get into the different, because, I mean, it's a sandbox game. It's so vast in terms of
tá meio que longe de
how do
acontecer
you
isso.
evolve? Are you going to do arable farming? Do you want to specialize in forestry? Do you want to just, I don't know, take care of cows or horses, stuff like this? So there's many different directions you can go, and these packs are going to help you along the way.
Absolutely.
Next one for you, Lars. Will seasons be an option to turn on and off? Basically, like we have already with plowing and
vai ter
weeds.
opção de
So is it
você
going to be
ligar e desligar o
optional?
season.
And how will
Isso aí a
it
gente já
affect maps from modders? This is something Jelsa Farmer from Norway.
Foi
wanted to
melhorado
No,
também o
it's nice.
sistema de
So,
partículas e effects
Yes, it will be
do jogo.
turnable, turn
Provavelmente
off,
isso vai ser
turnable.
legal.
What's the English term? You
It's-
can turn
it's
it on and
optional,
off.
basically,
Optional,
yes.
nice, thank you. I'm not native, he is. Anyway, yes, you can turn it on and off. I think I've said it before on various community channels. If we make the game more complex, there usually is a way to still play it in an easy way if you want to. Seasons, seasonal changes, all these things, seasonal cycles, is a very complicated topic. It changes the way you play the game a lot. So yes, there will be an option to turn it off. And from what I gathered from our guys who know a lot about mods and mod creation, it will be easy to use on mod maps as well.
Yeah,
That's what I
exactly.
heard. You are the mod expert, but
I checked that as well. So it's basically modders will be able to also include this new seasonal features into their maps, similar as they're using it now with FS19 and the season mods. This is going to be like directly in the game. They can basically change weather patterns, stuff like this.
yeah, we shouldn't forget that we have an expert from the old
Yes,
season mods with us. Jos is out
definitely.
there, and he knows a lot about seasons because he's one of the creators
Oh,
of
yeah.
the original Farming Simulator 17 mod. that won the mod
the
contest.
OG.
He is the OG. So the next one, can we expect to see any big expansions in Farming Simulator 22 like we've seen with lodging in Farming Simulator 15? This one is from Westin,
yeah.
in the United States, and that one is obviously not for you and for me. That one is for publishing, and that's why we're gonna leave this to Boris.
What comes to mind first is production chains. This means, for example, that we can process the harvested wheat to make bread and sell that to a pizzeria. I think that's a humongous expansion.
There we go. Oh, that one is nice. Super easy one for you. Are we going to be able to customize number plates from Blazer in Croatia?
Hell yes, of
Hell
course.
yes.
Hell yes.
Hell
Yeah.
yes.
You're gonna be able to use different symbols and characters and just design it to your heart's content, basically.
There is a profanity filter though.
There is, yes. That was something which we had to keep in mind, of course, because this, as with all things that can input text, you always have to make sure what kind of text is going to be displayed. So
For those of you who wonder that we are reading the questions, yes, we do have bullet points for the answers as well. We pre-recorded the show.
Yeah.
I think this is not a secret. That's why we do have answers from our friends out there. So don't be confused if we always look at our nice little list. But, you know, we want to make sure that we cover all the questions. And of course, we had to find answers if we both didn't have them.
yeah, and I mean, it's always good to get a specialist into the game.
Absolutely.
Who
And we
can
have
answer
a couple
these.
more specialists later.
Definitely. So, Lars, something Yannick from Germany wants to know. Will Lizard be in FS22?
Não mostraram ainda não, Kleber.
Yeah.
Eu tô esperando
So
os
Lizard
animais
is there.
novos
Lizard
também.
is our-
Enfim.
Well, home brand, let's phrase it that way. It's
Exclamação
a
Discord,
brand we made
Vicentinho.
up
The
back in the
self-made.
days. Yeah,
Obrigado,
the
Kleber
self-made, not
Mendes.
really
Obrigado aí
existing brand.
pelo donation.
We
cara.
use it whenever we want to have something in the game that doesn't really fit into anything we have.
Yeah,
right?
it's oftentimes used,
Agora nós temos
as I
texturas
understood it from its
verdadeiras de
inception.
vidro até que enfim.
It's basically whenever something is missing, like a particular tool or like a particular size that we
Kleber
don't
Mendes
have
donatei
a
R$5,
brand or a
obrigado,
tool
meu
to use in
garoto.
game,
Ponto
that's when
pro
we
café.
basically come up with the self-made
Ponto pro café.
solution. So we still want to give the players that big range of possibility.
Because sometimes, because it is a game, sometimes there are possibilities that you don't need in real
Yeah.
life. Like I remember when we had the terraforming for the first time, there was the lizard options to create roads and stuff. You know, the Walze. What's the English word for that thing?
The roller we had in the game.
Exactly. So these are the things that obviously don't exist in real life. So we use lizard for that. Will the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 continue to be supported in Farming Simulator 22 as it was in 15, 17 and 19? David from UK.
Yep, just like with FS19, you can simply hook up your eye tracker, use that, and just like it was in 19, it's gonna work, and you can play wherever you look. The camera will turn. It's gonna track your head a little bit.
Have you ever tried? Well, you have
yes,
your QA.
well, of course.
Yeah,
Have I ever tried it myself?
That was a bad question.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I don't play with it regularly because I don't know. I'm just not the guy to use it like day in, day out, because I think I often, due to working, have to look on another monitor, and then every time the screen would basically jump to the side. But every time you do hook it up and then play with it, it's like a whole new, this is pretty damn cool.
It is really cool. Yeah, I tried it once because I was like, I'm not, you know, I'm a traditional gamer. I'm this is not useful for me. Tried it once.
No começo eles mostraram um animal peludo.
Experience. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So that is really cool.
Não sei, eu também suspeitei no início. A cultura se deixou escapar ali sem querer na hora da gameplay ali, que é o morango também, tá? Não falaram sobre o morango, mas deixaram escapar ali na fábrica a fruta. Queria criar um mapa mais urgente, o editor abre e fecha. Vicentinho, tem placa de vídeo? Fala, Janor, beleza? Cheguei agora, já passou a gameplay. Eles gravaram a gameplay ali, velho, durante a live. Pode ser que eles passem alguma coisa aqui na hora que tiver pra finalizar, entendeu?
The question was like, yeah, of course, he's not only here for one game, because otherwise we would have to lay them all off.
Yeah.
Like, we are done publishing. Bye, Boris. Has been nice 2 years. No, of course, this is here to stay.
Yeah.
Self-publishing is a thing now for us.
It's a huge step, but it's something which is exciting as well.
And we shouldn't forget that, and I'm sure Boris can tell you more about publishing than we both could, but publishing is more than
Roberto.
just having
Obrigado pela sua inscrição,
who
Roberto.
just does it.
Tem, ô Vicentinho, mas
infrastructure for that.
Qual é a placa de vídeo? Não é de processador não, é placa de vídeo mesmo.
Network.
Everything. Doing that for just one game would be hilarious, but really foolish. Like, that wouldn't be a good idea at all. We shouldn't.
We have another one. You can answer this one, I guess. From Gavin from the USA. Will the landscaping tool be in FS22?
It will be. Yes, it will be. And it is even better than it used to be. And if you are not convinced that I'm right, I think we're gonna have a landscaping
Eles não mostraram o interior dos tratores. Aliás, apenas maquinários que vai vir. Pô, deve ser lá estranho. Será que é algo no interior
tune in tomorrow on Farmcom Day 3,
Cara, não sei, viu, Hank?
See for yourself that landscaping is there and it's better than it used to be.
Não sei, cara.
The next one is the last one for Boris, from what I understand. This is what has been the biggest challenge and the biggest advantage of self-publishing?
Well, that's
from
good
Chris
one.
in Edmonton. It's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Let's see what Mr. Boris has to say.
First, the biggest challenge, I think finding worldwide distribution partners in the shortest amount of time and being accepted as a full publishing partner by the various platform holders like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Valve, Epic, etc. Biggest advantage? For sure that we're directly in the markets in all regions and can react to our fans' needs and desires.
Cara, gosta de uma barba, já percebeu?
You know what I like about this? You can tell that we recorded into the phone, right? Because it's a little bit shaky. And we just went into his office. I'm not even kidding. We went into his office with the questions.
It's like quick fire questions. Give me the answers.
And we're like, give us something about that. And you can see his laptop in the background. And I'm so happy it's not something confidential on there. Because I just realized it's just the box shot. So he seems to have worked on something with the box when we came in, because that would be hilarious. We just film everything and then we just check it and we're like, we have to delete everything. So if you are never seeing this, there was something. But then you won't even notice. Yeah, or that. Or just like one of these, these incognito.
Yeah, exactly.
Bars.
Who is this?
That would be good. Will consoles be able to turn on hazard lights in Farming Simulator 22? It's from London in the United States.
Oh man, this question.
God, I see it like 5 times every day.
Yes, this has been going on forever. It's also something I, as a big I play on consoles as well in my private life, and I love the fact always that these kind of features are there, and I always, is there something we can do? Can we bring it there? There's no final answer yet as of now. We're working on it. And we do know that many players out there that's something that many console players really want to have on their consoles. We are working on it, and if all goes well, I hope then we might be able to have them on the newer console generation versions, because the reason for that, we've said it in the past and I'll say it here again, is always performance.
Yeah.
And but with the newer consoles generations out there, that's definitely something that might be possible, so we're trying our best.
We shouldn't forget that PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, that's very old hardware.
They are pretty old by now, yeah.
It is
they have
really
a good
old
age.
They do have a good age. So some things just don't work. I remember just in the podcast last week, we spoke about the occlusion, the parallax occlusion.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It might run on everything. Mm-hmm. It might only run on powerful consoles. It might not run on consoles at all. We're going to see, because we are still optimizing the game.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's the same for the hazard lights.
You have to develop a game, then you have to optimize a game. And sometimes it's happening at the same time. It's very busy for us.
So there are just some questions where at this point in time we have to say we don't know yet, because in this case it all depends on performance and how good it will perform on console, because there's no point in having hazard lights but the game doesn't run anymore.
Exactly.
Right? So fingers crossed, it might come, but we don't know.
Another one for you, Lars. In the trailer that we've shown, the CGI trailer, it shows that there's a snowplow on a tractor. So the question was, will there be something like contracts for snowplowing parking lots or driveways
tem a galera aí,
to earn
que
money
cria os
during
negócios
the
aí,
winter
tem que dar uma
seasons in
pesquisada
game?
aí.
Something Jackson from the USA wants to know.
So first of all, let me say that a CGI trailer is exactly that. This is
This cannot be stressed enough.
I feel like I've said that like a million times over the last 3 weeks. It is a CGI trailer. A lot of things that are in there are just in there to tell a story. Right, especially with that trailer, because we are actually telling a story. There's a lot of storytelling elements. However, for the missions, the answer is a definitely maybe, because we are still working on the missions. The mission system is not finished yet. We can't say yeah or no because it's just not done by now. Missions are still in development, and as of now, we don't have an answer. We might have a definite answer, or we will have, of course, a definite answer further down the line, but this is definitely not Farmcom.
Yeah, these are things that get more definite the closer we are to release.
Good, that one is nice. Will animal models, textures, etc. finally be available for modders as the resource to make our own animals or different breeds? From Bavarian Redneck.
That's an amazing username.
It's a nice username. That one is neither for you, but not for me either.
Nope.
We need one of our developers, and we're going to have Mr. Maurus here.
So, the animal models will still be protected.
O cara tava aí agorinha, maluco. Por que não falou logo?
Also with all the animations and that stuff and LODs and all that stuff makes it really complex to mod these animals, so they will still be
Rank Aliança. Hoje não, só amanhã. Tá? Hoje eu tô transmitindo aqui, mas amanhã eu faço um resumão dos 3 dias. Tá? E deixo vocês bem alinhados. E tudo que a gente for postar ali, a gente vai fazer um resumão pra vocês, tá bom? Até porque eu tenho que arrumar um tempinho aqui pra poder fazer tudo, agrupar tudo, juntar tudo pra trazer. E eu editar todo o vídeo, deixar prontinho pra tirar essa parte, entendeu? E ver se eu consigo traduzir tudo aqui pra vocês ficarem mais informados de como vai funcionar.
We just had few minutes ago. Definitely check it out. It's worth it. Okay. Well, that one is easy.
Minha placa de vídeo é uma GTX 1650. Será que vai rodar FS22? Sim, o máximo.
I'm thinking about smaller farms from Cheese, which is a great name as well, in the UK.
We know, especially also here in Germany, often vineyards and similar like grapevines, they are often harvested by hand. But I mean, we're a farming simulator game. It's about machinery, of course, so this is why we also focused on that part specifically for FS22. so there won't be any like manual hand-picking grapes or olives in the game, but there will be
Não sei, Caipira, provavelmente ele sempre deixa por último, velho. Mas falaram sobre novas culturas e não sei o que, não falaram nada sobre elas ainda. Entendeu? Tá, pelo menos tava na lista lá, né? Se eles não falar, é muita putaria da parte deles.
Alright, let's see. This is another good one regarding the, as we had before, the seasons mode in game. How long will a full in-game year be, basically? This is something Quarters wants to know.
I'm actually happy that, you know, that's one of the questions where I'm thankful that we had time to find the answer, because I had no idea. It's 12 days, 12 in-game days, I learned that. How long an in-game day is? Well, that really depends on how fast you play the game.
Yeah,
right?
We do have our different speed settings.
Exactly.
That
I think it's 12 hours on the slowest version per day.
Wow.
Or is it?
I'm not even sure on that one. I mean, we do have the difference. You can play it real time, of course.
Yeah, right. If you play in real time, it's even 24 hours per day, obviously.
Then you can do double and more than that.
And I think the fastest you can come up with, and I have to check, is 2.5 hours or something on highest speed.
Yeah, I think it's 120 times as fast. That's the max setting we have in game.
E o porquinho do lado de cá é o que mesmo? É um pônei?
Then it's way faster.
Não tem pônei no farm.
Oh, that one. Again, we are covering a couple of easy ones now. Will there be forestry-related production chains?
Definitely. I mean, this is something we also, if you haven't seen the gameplay demonstration, our good friend Marius and myself, we showed a little bit about the production chains. Forestry in particular, being one of the, let's say, branches of our game, of course, needed their own kind of production chain elements as well. So we have the usual sawmill, which you have in the game. Mostly like in FS19, it was a pre-placed area on the map. We basically changed that up to work as one of these factories, and you'll be able to produce boards, like wooden boards and things like that, basically. And there's a carpenter in the game. So these are like two elements that tie in more in this production chain branch of the game that you can use then.
Nice.
Yes. There's another one. This is very good. It's from Lucas from Germany. Is the farming simulator community hard to handle? And a little smiley face.
Yeah, well, we need a smiley face. Is it hard to handle? I'd say at times. At times, any community is hard to handle, obviously. But most of the time, it's not. I mean, being the community manager for 4 years now, I worked on different games before. I won't go into much detail, but the communities there were harder to handle, not gonna lie. Most of them were.
I'm guessing it also depends like, on what kind of game it is.
Não tô entendendo nada
this is the main point.
Eu também não tô entendendo.
It's not a competitive
Algumas
game.
coisas que dá pra entender. Mas tem aquela coisa seguinte. Eu tô vendo aqui hoje pra mim pegar um ritmo ali e pegar os trechos, os melhores trechos dessas lives do Jim.
I mean,
e trazer pra vocês um resumo.
And servers out there where players do kind of try and play competitive farms, but still.
There are some, and there is
not
the
that
FSL.
hardcore.
There is the FSL if you really want to go competitive. However, it is not I play against Kenny. I play with Kenny, even if we are competing for anything, right? Like race for, I don't know, first million, whatever. So that makes the community a little bit more relaxed. We also have a lot of adults. I'd say the range of 30 plus in age is quite high in Farming Simulator. Same for very young guys. And they are super nice. Like most of the time, if you get someone who's super nice, they're usually like 10, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Super friendly people. So the community is not too hard to handle.
And they do work great together as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. The only thing that gets a little bit more complicated over time, and that's the same for any community in the world, is basically because of social media, the community is super spread out.
Yeah.
Right? Back in the days, 10, 15 years ago, there was probably 1 or 2 forums, for example, that you had to keep an eye on, and then you were done. This time, we have almost 90,000 people on Discord. And you might want to join Discord, by the way, for our Farmcom discussions.
Discord.
A produção da serraria vai ter tábuas e carpetes de madeira.
We still have the forums.
Vai ser muito top esse novo FS.
Myriads of Facebook groups
igual eu tô comentando desde ontem.
Thousands of people.
Provavelmente é o melhor Farm Simulator da franquia inteira.
It's like a million tiny communities that we try to stitch together to a big community.
And that's a challenge for itself.
It is, and that's why we already have 3 people now. Back back in the days, it was just me.
Yeah.
And it was enough.
Now there's a community team.
4 years later, it's a 3-guy team covering 2 time zones, with Terminator being in the United States, so that we can cover as much as possible. So it is an easy to handle community, as in there are a lot of nice guys out there, but of course there are challenges, right? If we do something that you guys don't like, you will be very, very vocal about it. And then of course there are different opinions, and it's difficult at times. But in general, I'd say it's the best community I work with.
And it's really always a hard thing to try and please everybody. You can't.
You absolutely can't.
You try, but it's always...
I usually use an example like, let's say Seasons, for example.
Yeah.
You know, Seasons was a mod that millions of people downloaded, but a lot of people didn't like it either. So they deinstalled it. So if you do something like create a mod like that, there will be people who go like, oh, this was important, thank you. And some people that go turn around and go like, why do we need this?
Where's the off button?
Why didn't you develop something useful instead?
Yeah.
Because, you know, some people like things, some people dislike. So you can't please everyone, but we try our best to please as many people as possible. And we need your feedback for that, of course. Feel free to just shout on us on Twitter, Facebook, what I said, anywhere. We are there, we are listening, and we totally gather the feedback.
Yeah.
Because we need it. Do that. I'm honest. How does your research team
será
go
que vem
about...
mapas como era no 15, com relevo top? Provavelmente, cara.
Collating? Oh,
collecting.
That might be collecting. Yeah, that's where, you know, I'm still not native. I was like, what is that for a word? What did I miss here? How does your research team go about collecting all the information about what you decide happens in the next game? How is this then filtered through the development team as a final decision before creating what people want? That is
a real deep question.
And we have to go very high to get the answer from that. We went to Stefan Geiger, one of our founders, and see what he has to say.
Finding the right features for a new game is definitely not an easy task. I mean, what we usually do is by the end of the production of the previous game, or at the start during the patching phase, we kind of scan the forums, the Facebook, Twitter, etc., and also like YouTube videos for ideas and feature requests of people, and kind of get an idea of what could make sense to add to the game. And of course, we also have a huge list of our own
ideas. Fala, Thiaguinho, beleza?
Kleber
Mendes, ontem eles falaram que os campos não vai mais ser numerados.
Find kind of groups of features and then kind of make a decision based on that, what features could make sense to kind of combine. Because sometimes a feature by itself doesn't make much sense.
Mas o que vai dar, Kleber, que os caras vai começar a chorar por causa disso.
Take those kind of groups and then really decide which of those we kind of want to put as the main features of the next game. And then from there we go and refine it and add more and more details to the plan. And also other features are also driven by contracts. So sometimes, of course, when we decide we want to add a feature, we specifically go towards manufacturers and try to acquire those brands we need for those new features. But sometimes it's also like long-term negotiations that were going on, and then based on the results of those, it can also trigger the addition of new features or new machines, etc. And of course, a lot of stuff changes as well during the development. So when we add small things, we suddenly realize, okay, well, that other feature would be nice as well to fit well with what we added. And then we add those as well if we think it makes sense. And also, like, even now, while we're already publishing some information to the public about the new game, there's constantly new ideas coming in from your feedback. So whenever possible, we also try to add those as well, even in a very late state of the game, because that's usually what we think makes most sense to really give the best experience in the end.
There we go.
That's an in-depth answer.
That's an in-depth answer, but that's what you usually get if you ask Stefan a question.
Yeah, also I really like that we have the possibility for the viewers to, get a little bit of insight from the source itself.
Well, that is the source. That is where it all began. Stefan Geiger, of course, one of the founders of Giant Software.
Yeah.
You all know that by now. And every time you ask him something, if you have ever been to a physical Farmcom, every time you ask him, you get a good answer. You get an in-depth answer. He loves answering these things. And well, you need a little bit of time because he is going in-depth, but you get the best answer you can get.
That's true.
It's awesome. Okay. That one is for you.
There's another one for me, yeah.
I'd say most of the next ones are for you if I just have a quick look here. Will you be able to get achievements while playing multiplayer in Farming Simulator 22?
It's something we're still working on. Achievements in general are something that we're trying to overhaul them a little bit and things for FS22. What we're definitely trying is maybe to do it that way that at least the host hosting the game would be able to get achievements. But yeah, it's not final yet. So another one of these we'll see down the line once we get closer to release how it turns out.
To be fair, achievements are something that you do really late in development, right? Because you need a game to be almost done in order to decide which achievements can work and can't work. So it's a little bit early for that question. And I know it sounds hilarious with only 4 months until the game comes out, but achievements really is something. It's one of the last things you ever do in a game. You finalize achievements once you have decided anything else.
Exactly.
Right. Cool. Do you want to do that one for Mr. Geiger?
Yes. So there was another question. Oh, this one is actually from Bullet Bill.
From Bullet Bill.
From
Hello,
the
Bill.
UK. He asks, will you be adding some form of multi-terrain angle as default? So the soil isn't permanently at either 90 or 45 degree angles.
And as I said, we're going to give that one to Stefan Geiger as well. Because
it
is a dev question. Definitely is.
Currently, the angles that the field texturing can have is still limited to 45 degrees. There's several reasons for that. One of the most important ones is the memory usage for the additional data that we would need to store. That not only means more memory on the client itself, but also we need to sync more data in multiplayer. We also need to store that data in the save games, and for some platforms that additional memory can be an issue. And then other important reason for us to not increase it is the visual quality. At the moment, the transitions between two different angles on the field texturing doesn't look particularly good. And to kind of reduce
tem alemão, tem inglês, uns
45 degree stepping reduces
tem como botar uma legenda, velho, mas eu falando aqui, entendeu? Eles poderiam ter usado o programa que tem disponível para tradução, aquela coisa toda. Aí a pessoa conseguia ativar do lado de cá.
So we need to solve a couple issues for
Valeu, Antônio Leandro. Tamo junto, amigão. Obrigado pelo seu seja membro aí, seja bem-vindo, tá bom?
Limitations we have on the hardware, and but I cannot really say if that's going to be part of Farming Simulator 22 or if that's going to be in a future update or a future game.
All right.
Hope that helps, Bill. That would be good. I just like how you can tell that they just grabbed him somewhere.
Stefan, get here. We need an answer.
There's no fancy background or something. Nope. It's just grabbing him. Like, look, we have questions.
People want to know answers. Give
Take a
them
look
to
at
us
that
now.
camera. Just basically, I love it. Thanks to, by the way, the Swiss team who got him to answer these questions. So this turns into an interview now because, as I said,
have a few more
I think
for
it's only Kenny questions now and a couple for our developers. Let's start. Is there going to be a way to run livestock similar to how they get run on ranches here in the western United States in large pastures? If I pronounce this wrong, I'm sorry. I'm still German. Move them to fresh pastures when feed gets low, either in vehicles or with a horse or ATV from BL in the United States.
I really like the idea, to be honest. It's a kind of. Basically, we don't have the mechanics of like grazing or something similar like this.
Estão fazendo mistério, rapaziada. Mistério nesse novo animal.
To basically use, for example, fences or similar to fence off an area like a pasture or a meadow.
Eles vão liberar isso no último dia, que é amanhã.
Load and also unload horses, for example, so you can like bring them there to maybe like a dedicated area where you would use them for like riding them to increase their fitness and so on. So that will be possible, but we don't have like a dedicated grazing feature or anything like that.
Cool.
Although I really like the idea, so who knows, maybe
there's always the next game.
Yeah, that's true.
With production added to Farming Simulator 22, will players have a way to build in to store those products? Bale storage and pallet storage mods are popular with PC players and such would be great for slot count limited consoles to maximize performance versus rendering tons of pallets and bales. By the way, slot count still a thing in consoles.
Still a thing, yeah.
We can say that, I think.
So,
in order for you guys, and this is a little bit off the grid now, but to understand why slots are a thing, consoles have a limited performance, of course. You know, there is a point where you're going too far, where the performance would just die, and that's why we do have slots. Of course, with newer,
you won't be happy. Continue playing.
Yeah,
trust us.
We tried. At least he tried. I didn't. I just trust on QA.
It ain't pretty.
No, it ain't pretty. The thing is, with consoles, we know exactly where this limitation is. With a PC, you can't, because everyone builds their own PCs. You don't know where the limitation is. With consoles, you know exactly where this limitation is. People usually turn around and go like, oh, PCs don't have slots. They do. It's just not a slot count because we can't count it. But if you put everything on PC, your frames drop to 1. It drops to minutes per frame and not frames per second anymore. And the whole game crashes and everything. It's the same thing. It's basically you just finished your slot count just without a slot count on PC. So you need to understand that slots have to be there. It's just an indicator of where the limit of your console is. It's not
where you are currently in the space,
exactly.
basically.
It's not us limiting what you can do in the game. It's just saying this is the end. Your RAM is full if you do that. It's over. All right, good. But for the question itself, we're gonna hand it over to Marius because he has something to say about it.
That's an important point. We made some decisions like only adding 1 pallet per type for production points. So you won't have multiple pallets of the same type using up space and object count. But you also have the option to set your output mode, for example, to automatic distribution, which will then directly move all the goods between the production points and not use up any space.
There you go.
Easy enough, I'd say.
Next interview question.
Yes. Is there a stronger emphasis on animal livestock, such as breeding cattle and tending to their needs? From Matthew in Ireland, my good old Ireland.
Oh my, yes.
Oh my, yes. That's a good answer. I like where that is going.
Yeah, animals are really complicated, actually, this time around a little bit in FS22. So not only do we have the thing about breeding and tending to their needs, but they actually have different stats. So there will be, we will have several different like cow types, for example, and they will all differ a little bit in their use. So we have the Holstein cows, for example. They are perfect for producing milk on one hand, and Angus beef, that of course is has a great resale value if you tend to them. And each type is also, they have different ages for when they would breed to bring newborn cattle into onto your farm, and they all need different amounts of food as well. So it's all going to be a little bit more complicated this time around with all these different types of animals. And of course, probably the most interesting thing, they will have different visuals as well. So all of them, they're getting new animations. We have completely new models and all that. And yeah, they're looking really nice so far.
And I wonder if we just leaked the feature. Martin, if you watch this, sorry. It wasn't me. I'm not Leaker Town this time. It's him. No, things have changed.
Yeah.
I think you can say that. Things have changed, and for the better, I guess.
Definitely.
It's more interesting, more complicated as well, as if our game wouldn't be complicated enough at times.
I sometimes don't know how the programmers get on with it, because it's like, this is so much.
But it's awesome.
It's definitely awesome.
I love it, and it's great. I think it might be the first time we spoke about it in this Q&A.
I think so, yeah.
But I mean,
we chose these questions for a reason, and this is a really nice one to kind of give you guys a little bit of another glimpse of what's coming.
Absolutely is. Next one is about consoles again, and that one might be super interesting for like 50% of our console players at least. What will be the new gen consoles PC include that won't be available on PS4 or Xbox One? So difference last gen, this gen, I'd say.
Well, it's very, very important for us to not like lock anybody out, any players, no matter if you're playing on a PS4 or PS5 or Xbox One or like one of the new Series X or S. So gameplay features and everything like that, this is all going to stay the same across all different console versions. This is something that was very important for us to the heart. There will simply be like a visual difference, of course, because the newer hardware, it has like a better junk in it, so you will be able to really render like better compared to like an old gen console. So that's going to be the only difference between these two, but it's very important for everybody to still understand gameplay wise, feature wise, it's still in there, it's the same.
I think for PC players it's quite easy to understand because we have old PCs and
exactly.
new PCs,
and we've been trying to support both for a long time already.
If you buy the game, I mean, all you do really is you buy one game, right? Doesn't matter what PC you have, and then you just adjust the game to your needs from a performance standpoint, like graphic and all these things. And it's the same with that. PS4, it's simply older hardware than a PS5. So it's the PS5 game on lower settings and not a different game. This is quite important. So 4K possible?
Tá falando do PS5 dos PCs.
I definitely think so.
Nice. You heard it here first, and this one was not on my list.
So this time, Martin, we're sorry if we're leaking anything.
And love and kisses to the influencers who bothered me with that question for weeks now, and I had the chance to do it here. How open will the productions aspect be for modders? Oh, that one is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Will modders be able to expand this easily and maintain console compatibility? I can't pronounce that word. Last word, please.
Console compatibility.
Thank you. That's why we have an American in this company. That one, again, is for Marius, and I gonna switch over to him and see what he has to say.
Productions are built in a way where you can define your production point and the production solely in XML files. So this will allow you to have production points on consoles as well and create your custom mods. So after all, you can expect lots of production mods for both PC and consoles.
That was quick.
Yeah, there you go. Simple, short, precise.
Easy enough. Nice. I just run through this because this is a long presentation already. Can you feed animals different crops? And I think you just touched based it in the last question. In Farming Simulator 22, like, can you feed cows sugar beet? From Caleb in Ireland again. All my Irish lads.
All the Irish lads. So you will be able to feed them the same crops like in FS19, but of course we have the new additions with sorghum, which you'll be able to feed your pigs, horses, and also for the first time ever, a total mixed ration, which you can now also mix for your cows, of course, and use that to eat the animals, basically.
How complicated is that, though?
Once you get the hang of it, it isn't that complicated.
Well, that counts for every single aspect of our game. Once you understand how it works,
once you've done it once or twice, you're gonna be fine.
I see. Will bales be improved? Not solid like a rock, but actually compressed when you grab them. From Jake in Australia.
Well, physics are a very, very difficult thing to program, first of all. A very, very difficult thing to simulate correctly as well. We don't have any like major changes for them right now in the development standpoint because we're still a ways off from release, but we're always working on improvements down the line, and hopefully we'll just have to see what kind of features make it to the game down the road.
So we'll see. The last one for Mr. Marius.
Yeah.
Why is there a synchronization period in multiplayer? I think I answered that one like 100 times. You don't seem to see this in other games. It seems mostly unique to Farming Simulator. From Alex in the United Kingdom. And we give that one to Marius, as I said.
There are a few things which currently cannot be synchronized asynchronously, but we made some major improvements for this title, and it should be much faster than in previous games.
There you go.
Well then.
There you go.
There you go. So synchronization still is a thing.
Yeah. I mean, just the pure amount.
It got way quicker.
Yeah.
At least from what I've seen when you guys play with it. It got way quicker.
I mean, sometimes I mean, some players like to still complain about it.
Será que vão acabar com aquele negócio de esperando sincronizar?
Thinking about just like the technical aspects, everything has to be, upon joining a game, has to be synced.
Yeah.
Or it's a sandbox game again. So many different complex elements that need to be like, you, Lars, join my game. I got to give you a quick snapshot of everything that has been going on for the, I don't know, past year my server or whatever was running. And you basically, sometimes you don't even notice. You join, blup, and done.
Well, the thing is, and I said that a lot. This is one of my, easiest questions to answer because I did it for 4 years now, pretty much every day. I see a lot of complaints from people saying, well, in other games, you join, you get a loading screen, but everyone else can still play. The problem with that is that our game needs, as you said, synchronize the whole map, right? If you think about games where you just drop in, drop out, it might just be the position of the other players. So you join in after the loading screen, the map is just as it is, and then the players teleport for a second, and everyone is where it should be.
Beleza, Antônio, é isso
for
aí.
our game, you need to have all the crops in the right position. Everything has to be absolutely precise. And the synchronizing thing, if we would just let everyone else continue to play, and this guy would synchronize, he would never stop because everything is growing, everything is working. If you stop for a second and go like, okay, everyone's on the same page now, start.
Exactly. If we wouldn't stop the game for that quick moment, I could continue, I don't know, cultivating, and you would never get, like, you would join, and I would be 5 meters somewhere else, and
you would continue
your game just wouldn't know, like, what has he been doing in the 5 seconds that I'm already trying to get all the data straight.
So we need that quick stop. I think it's very quick in Farming Simulator 22, actually. It was already quicker in 19 than it was in 17, but 22 to 19, at least from what I've seen here. Of course, this is optimal.
This is due to like all the optimization that we're not always talking about, of course, but that's all the optimization going on, like on the code alone, just behind the scenes, basically.
From what I've seen here in our QA, it's very quick now.
Yeah,
it is still there, but it's very, very quick.
Definitely.
2 more. One, can we expect an upgrade to the multiplayer system with regards to mods? The current system of having to download each missing mod individually is incredibly slow from Jake in the United
States. Não sei se o trailer foi aquele que eles mostraram jogando ali, a gameplay.
Upon joining a game, there will be a new button on PC that just says basically download all missing mods. If they're from ModHub.
Isso aí, porque muda o shader, né,
Antônio?
Toda vez que muda de um jogo para o outro, ele altera o shader. Por exemplo, dessa vez é o Giants Engine 9. No caso, deve ser o shader número 5. Então, assim, o jogo ele altera algumas coisas e tem que ser convertido de um jogo para o outro. Entendeu? Então, esse é o motivo.
Perfect. If they're not on ModHub, obviously we can't do that because they are not in our ecosystem.
Exactly.
So we can't just make sure that works. Nice. The last one is a very generic one. It says, what are you most excited about in Farming Simulator 22? And before you
answer that, we leave it to all the 3 guys we've just seen. And then we talk about it and finish this.
We start with Boris.
É o Boris. E aí, Boris?
When I first heard of that, I went, oh wow, finally, I can do something with the stuff I harvested. And I'm really eager for that.
There we go.
Next one, Mr. Maurus.
There are a lot of things in the new Farming Simulator that are really great, in my opinion. So the one thing is the Parallax Occlusion Mapping, which gives way more realistic view on the ground. So it's like 3D, and also which is really great is the the gravel roads, so you really see the small stones that are staying out of the ground.
Seria interessante também, viu, Kleber? Essa questão de ter o botão para baixar os mods sem precisar você estar indo atrás, entendeu? Se for do mod hub, baixar direto. O jogo vai ter marchas, os câmbios automático, manual, top. Sim, valeu!
Só vai donar R$2, obrigado, meu garoto. Ponto.
Obrigado aí, Isha.
I like smiling all the time because
he's excited.
He's responsible for so many of the features that are in Farming Simulator 22. You know, that he's like, I could talk about this for years. Like, exactly.
Cara, não sei.
So the last one is Mr. Marius again.
For me personally, it's lots of small detail features.
O Makuri, cara, o Makuri vai ser convertido também. Mas vai ser lançado dentro do mod hub também. Se rodou o FS19 em 18 FPS, então rodaria o FS22 em 4 FPS. Mas a força do ódio, será que dá certo? Na verdade, provavelmente rodará na mesma configuração, cara. Não vai ter tanta salto assim pra placa gráfica, aquela coisa toda não. Vai ser bom pra quem tem o PC mais forte. Isso aí vai ser fodástico, porque tem que estar o DirectX 12, enfim. Tem bastante coisa que vai mudar. Botar de leite, tudo bem? Como é que você tá?
I think just because it ties in all of these so greatly together, for me it's gonna be the production chain system. Just because of that's really something that has kind of been missing before,
Farm Simulator
from the previous entries, and I think
mais
that
players
can really this time around focus on
você acompanhar lá
more of the little bit more managing aspects of the game, managing their process chain and everything. So I think it's going to open up a lot of new ways to actually play the game. So that's going to be my
é igual fim de coelho,
velho. Say production chains, but I said that in interviews before.
Sacou?
There are a couple of other things I love, so I go very quick over them. So the first of all is we are not talking about that one. There is one thing we haven't, but we're gonna talk about it, and then I'm gonna turn on go. It's a tinier one, but I love it. You're gonna see. The second one I really want to stress because just I love it is the new sound.
Yeah.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, we're gonna have a sound presentation tomorrow, where we go over the new sound features. But if you remember back in the release window of Farming Simulator 19, we had a lot of complaints about sound. We got tons of feedback, and I wrote 20 pages of feedback and sent it to developers back in the days, and they took that serious. And they did a lot to the sound, and I like where this is going. I really do.
Sexta geração, mais 8 GB de 1050 DirectX
sound features that we're gonna show.
Let's just say FS22 sounds amazing.
It really does sound amazing, and we're gonna prove that to you tomorrow.
Você ainda irá jogar o FS19 ou vai ser igual ao FS15 esquecido?
Well, there are two features
19 ainda tá fresquinho, ainda vamos dizer assim, pouco tempo dele lançar de lançado 22. Mas claramente que a gente vai ficar mais
I was excited about no rain through roofs back in the days when we announced it for 19. It's tiny things that get me excited. We're going to talk about that later, I can promise. For now, we are done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny, for taking the chance to
Thank you for having me. I hope I could give a little bit of
insight.
We hope you like that Q&A. We do have another Q&A coming up. There is a form that you can fill.
Boa tarde, Artorias.
Should be somewhere. I don't know when. I'm sure our video team will have it somewhere. Feel free to add some questions that we're gonna answer tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we do another Q&A tomorrow. Might not be us, might be the developers, might be us. Who knows? Depends on the questions you guys send in. And if you are interested in getting more questions answered, feel free to add questions. For now, thank you for being here. Thank you guys for listening to us. I hope it was.
Thanks for sending in the first batch of questions.
And thanks for the ambassadors.
No lance FPS, o povo vai sair louco comentando no mapa. Não vai ser tão simples não, Antônio.
He is now part of our team.
Só parece.
He is a community manager.
Mas não vai ser simples não.
He is responsible for gathering the questions now.
Yeah.
That's
really nice.
Anyway, guys, it has been fun, has been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. As I said, if you like what you've seen, tune in tomorrow for more. For the sound presentation, I can't stress this enough. This one is awesome, and for way more other things. Thank you, guys. Have a nice evening, and we're gonna see you tomorrow, I hope. Bye.
Bye-bye, folks.
Some really good questions. Thanks again to
Cara,
all
quando lançar o
ambassadors
jogo,
who
os
helped
caras
us with
sem
collecting
gravar
them.
vão fazer
As I mentioned
versão
before,
pirata e
if you still
isso
have
é muito
anything you
errado.
want to know or just
Mas
want to hang out and
infelizmente
chat
é
with
Brasil.
us,
É normal,
head over
papai.
to the Farming Simulator Discord now, because this concludes Day 2 of Farmcom
Bem
21.
complicado mesmo, viu?
Also, you can still submit questions through our letterbox form. We will take a look at those questions tomorrow morning and answer as many of them as possible tomorrow evening when we are back for Day 3 of FarmCon 21. Tomorrow, we will show you a detailed look at the new crops, the build mode, the changes to in-game audio, and as a special warm-up for this Farming Simulator League tournament this weekend, our friends from the Stark magazine will let FSL teams compete against each other in a real-life bale stacking challenge with real tractors. Yes, I heard some of them even had to get their tractor's license first, so I'm sure this will be a blast to watch. Thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.
É o gameplay agora? Acabou! Que coisa, né, meu? Ave Maria, achei que ia ter mais alguma coisa hoje, esperando igual um louco. Vou voltar lá na parte das vacas, porque eu não vi a parte das vacas.
It's a bit different from a normal cultivator. A cultivator works a bit more in depth and really changes the look of the ground. And my
how the ground has been worked.
So the plow is also putting everything under the ground, so even more than a cultivator.
Yeah.
But all this stuff has not just a small tractor that is an addition. It's really. Yeah, a great addition
also
to the game.
For those wondering, so if you pre-order the game digitally anywhere, you will be able to get the class pack for your game, or you can also buy the game retail, and it's going to be included if you get the disc version in the stores as well.
Mudaram o curral, ficou bom.
So at the back of the Xerion, we can also see the tools from Caveco. We never had them in the game.
Deixa eu ver aqui o vídeo lá no canal
da
Gigantes.
So we got at the back the slurry distributor and the tank on top. And as you have seen probably already
É o que a
gente
website,
acabou
de assistir aqui, pessoal, pelo que eu prestei atenção.
Semi-trailed tanker for that. So if you need to
Tem 8.000 visualizações
have some more slurry, you can use that. Okay, so but first, before we start to bring out the slurry, I want to have a quick look on the cow shed here.
This is also new.
Rapaz, mas esses arames dessa cerca aí também, hein? Maluco do céu, é uns ferros de construção, mano.
Like animal.
Exactly, that's
pegaram os vergalhão e botaram na cerca. Nunca vi coisa igual, maluco. Tá louco.
Things here. So,
Look at our cows.
Look at our cows, they're beautiful. And they're eating there. Also from this side, a pretty nice one.
Legal, a ambientação do mapa é muito da hora, ficou bonito.
You can have a look inside, of course, as well. And there's also like the feeding area in the front.
Yeah, so we improved here also a bit. Close this door if you want.
I mean, they seem much more interactive than they were before compared to FS19. So you will have all these little elements around the husbandries. You have opening sheds and doors basically and stuff like this. And of course, you're already parked
Salve Barbudão, beleza?
Trigger,
right? Bom demais?
Yeah. So that's an underground slurry tank here, and you fill it.
Negócio de esterco líquido agora também deu uma mudada aí. Ficou da hora.
A bunch of little elements there on the placeables. Especially one I think is the lightning inside.
Fala, Vitor, beleza? O som daquele de onde estava top demais.
Like the interior design of it.
Exactly.
So if it's night, you'll see those lights coming on.
Yeah, and you can also toggle them manually, so you can just walk to the light switch and turn it on if you need it. So let's drive to the field.
Yeah, and I mean, part of this of the pre-order bonus, like the whole saddle track pack, maybe just to summarize again, it's going to be the saddle track itself.
O que eu mais gostei aqui, pessoal, foi essa questão das estradas não ter mais aquele pixelado nas beiradas para você fazer as estradas.
You mentioned it before. The other one was
bom demais, meu amigo. Como é que tá, Paulo Henrique?
Yeah,
the bola?
Semi, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, more for the bigger farms.
Só baixar um pouquinho esse volume aqui.
Yeah, this one got,
que aí eu não vai atrapalhar eu falando.
Cubic meters.
Yeah, exactly.
Bom,
and the bigger one got
deixa eu só voltar mais um trecho pra mim pegar o arado ali, que eu não vi a parte do arado também.
So, if you drive with a disc harrow, you got more stubbles there, and this results after that the weeds grow faster.
Okay.
So you don't have that much time to get rid of the weeds. So it also has some kind of gameplay effect.
Yeah, I mean the main.
Salve, Gustavo de Aguiar, tudo bem, meu amigo? Fala aí, Jefferson Craze.
We want to reward the player for actually taking the time and working the field and like many different cycles and shifts. So if you take better care of your ground this way, that of course is going to
Cadê as animações de terra lá atrás, ó?
Within the gameplay loop.
Exactly. So if you, for example, use the disc harrow, you can also drive faster. So, and it also has a financial benefit because the disc harrow is normally a bit cheaper.
Salve, Samuel, beleza?
But you don't have that much time for the weed.
5 likes pra 200, pessoal. Vamos fechar os 200 likes aí pra gente encerrar essa live feliz.
You have to choose. And yeah, before in FS19 it was all the same. So yeah, that's an improvement there. So yeah, exactly. So at the back of the Xerion we can also them manually. Yeah.
Beleza.
So les modeurs.
Eu quero saber o limão.
In the bottom corner, we have the
Pessoal, vamos voltar na parte onde eu falei pra vocês que deixaram escapar aqui a cultura.
Things like that. Like the one is with the most ingredients.
I think it will be the bakery. Good.
All right.
But the cake.
Olha aqui, ó. Ô, moranguinho. Sabia, velho. Sabia que realmente ia ter alguma cultura, porque tava mostrando lá um espaçamento de plantio. Provavelmente teremos os morangos aí também, tá? Então isso vai ser muito da hora. Beleza? Então assim, o jogo, até o momento a gente sabe o seguinte, que teremos o sorgo e o morango. O morango não foi anunciado, mas sem querer entregaram de bandeja aqui, ó. Que não tem isso aqui. Como é que o cara vai fabricar morango, sendo que o morango tem que ser plantado? Sacou? É isso que eu quero ressaltar aqui pra vocês. E engraçado que ele fala a quantidade que pede, ó. Mais 2 morangos, ó. Olha lá, ó. Pede 2 quantidades de trigo, de farinha ali. Mais 2 de açúcar, mais 2 de leite, 2 ovos. E aquele outro ali é o que mesmo, hein, mano? Ah, manteiga, tá? Mais 2 morangos aqui, igual a um cake. O engraçado é que continua na questão de litros, ó. Pão em litros. Ó, GL, é o seguinte, maluco. Agora você não tem mais só ovo em litros. Você tem bolo em litros e também pão em litros agora, tá? Não é mais só o ovo e o restante ali em litros. Agora também temos litros de pão e de bolo. Você se quer ser que vai ter a toleira nos mapas, eu tô por fora. Não vai ter não, mano. Isso aí, só não sei que um modder crie isso aí, entendeu? É só de litrão. É, mano, aqui é o seguinte. Essa cultura eles acabaram entregando sem querer, tá? Porque, a não ser que vai ter nas estufas. O cara plantar morango em estufa. Não, mas eu vi umas prints que eles tiraram meio de longe assim. Um carrilhado de plantio baixo, de uma cultura baixa. Provavelmente, realmente, é o morango, tá, pessoal? Isso aqui é certamente que é o morango, tá? Enfim. Eu queria ter visto os animais novos, tá? Mas infelizmente não mostraram ainda. Não sei quando vão mostrar, mas estamos no aguardo.
I mean, those are like many different ingredients you get from
Falaram que tinha os animais fofinhos. Vai ser gato, no mínimo. Vai ser gato. Vai ser Guat, que é cabra, ou galinha, ou pavão, seja lá o que for.
Or the output storage is full and you don't have space to place the products anywhere. You get a red indicator here, so you can just quickly check the menu and see if there are any productions that don't run.
So you immediately see.
Mas pessoal, era isso aí, tá? Obrigado a todos que assistiram essa live até aqui. Lembrando que amanhã ou no sábado de manhã, tá? A gente vai estar aqui comentando todos os negócios, as lives que eles fizeram. Provavelmente eu vou recortar muita coisa, essa parte que ficam falando muita coisa. A gente vai pegar as partes mais interessantes. Queremos saber a opinião de vocês aqui, o que vocês acharam, o que vocês aguardam nisso aqui. Então, assim, sábado de manhã a gente vai trazer uma transmissão aqui para vocês, tá? Não, amanhã eu não sei, amanhã provavelmente eu não vou trazer, tá? Porque amanhã tem a transmissão do Agro League. Outra coisa, pessoal, sobre a questão do Agro League, tá? Não é necessariamente vocês assistirem, tá? Eu não obrigo ninguém, nem quero que ninguém sinta-se obrigado em assistir, tá bom? A gente tá colocando transmissão em respeito porque isso vai vir para o Brasil. Então, assim, a gente quer ter uma oportunidade de mostrar o Brasil para o mundo também nessa questão do Agro League aí, que vai estar pela transmissão da Fire TV também, tá? Então a gente está transmitindo, mas em respeito, pedido ao foco de visão no Brasil. Mas mesmo assim não dá muita gente. Eu sei que a maioria aqui apoia e tal, mas eu mutei aqui que eu dei uma tossida legal agora. Então assim, pessoal, não é obrigatório, tá? Assista se quiser, mas se quiser passar e deixar o like. A live vai ser deixada em privado logo que acabar, porque eles usam alguns tipos de música lá que acaba me dando direitos autorais. Eu tenho que deixar a live em off, tá? Mas é igual o Luiz falou, é para trazer visibilidade pro Brasil e aquela coisa toda. Então a gente quer ver também se o pessoal quer participar, né? Tem essa questão da participação do pessoal do Brasil, se tem interesse de participar da Agro League ou algo do tipo, para ter uma premiação de até $10.000, certo? Então, é isso, pessoal. Meu grande abraço a todos vocês. Fiquem todos com Deus. Meu muito obrigado a todos que assistiram essa live até aqui. Fiquem todos com Deus e até a próxima live. Lembrando que esse final de semana a gente tem mais uns multiplayers aí. Fiquem ligados aí que a gente vai trazer mais algumas lives aí com vocês, tá bom? Um abraço para vocês, fiquem todos com Deus e até a próxima. Fui!
Sometimes I get nervous, but too good to believe. I don't know how it happened, but baby, I'm ecstatic that you're sticking with me. I'm waiting, trying to be patient. You look like a painting. It's so frustrating. I hate it, yeah. I probably shouldn't say this. I probably should erase it. I probably shouldn't say